That's why I say it goes back to who are we giving the platform. So if you see someone who's from your culture, who's doing an effort to uplift your culture, and you think they deserve the recognition,
because it helps the culture, like,
share. What up everyone, CharisMaggie here, and welcome back to my channel where I encourage you to submerge yourself in culture and live meaningful lives. Now for today's video, this is a follow-up to kind of one of the questions that we discussed in the video that I did with my brother, this one right here. Go ahead and check it out. And I wanted to do a reaction almost, or an analysis of the White Yardie interview, and I wasn't able to find the full interview itself for me to get the full context, but we're just going to react to what we could find pretty much. So here we go. So just to give you a premise, cheese on peace. White Yardie was interviewed, I believe it's by a UK like show or something, and well, here we go. Don't want to give out too much.
Do you believe that you are part of black culture?
I believe I'm a part of the Jamaican culture.
Okay. What's the difference to you?
The difference to me is that what is the black culture, you cannot just define black culture as black culture because it varies. I relate with the Jamaican culture because it's the culture that I grew up in.
Okay, so let's stop it right there. Like, I don't want it to go too far in. So they already asked him. The first question was if he believes he's a part of black culture because he does comedy from the perspective of a Jamaican. So right off the rip, we're already assuming that Jamaican culture is simply encompassing black people, which isn't the case. Like, Jamaica's motto is like, out of many one people. They have persons of backgrounds like German, Asia, like Chinese, Indian, Syrian, then we have our African population as well. But a lot of this, like, if you know the history, like, we had indigenous folks that were there first, and then the slaves were brought, or enslaved people I should say, were brought to Caribbean countries like Jamaica. And then after slavery was abolished, like, they had other indentured like folks that they brought. So like Ireland, for example, like, for those of you who don't know, like, Ireland folks were not really being treated the best by the crown. So it's just, you know, in that way, like, I get what they're trying to ask with the question, but he did a good job of answering because he's not saying he's a part of black culture. He identifies with the Jamaican culture. So another thing too is because they're from the UK, things are more in terms of like race, whereas for us it's like, if you're a Jamaican, you're just Jamaican. So a lot of persons who are from Jamaica who are watching this, I know they were kind of puzzled by that question. But what do you think about this question here that he was asked?
Like, I get what I mean, it's an interviewer, so they're trying to, I guess, get him to say, but the question, I kind of agree with what he was saying, you know, like, there's no really such thing as
like one set black culture anyway.
Yeah, like because to say you're advocating for black culture, there's a lot of people that are black and different backgrounds, right? Obviously people integrate, like, it might be Blasian, it could be, you know what I'm saying, there's a lot of black but different ethnicity. You can't really just bundle it into one.
Well, not only that, but thing. Like, black culture, I mean, even other Caribbean and African cultures. It could be African,
it could be Caribbean.
It's different though.
Yeah, it could be anything. Like
it's different. Like, we all, even though we have some similarities here and there, we do have our differences.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to just say black culture. You got to give it specifically where
what you mean, yeah,
it's coming from.
Okay.
You know, we have black British culture, so that's a different thing. But to me, black British culture is a merge of like Jamaican, Caribbean, and Africa and England together. That makes the black British culture. That's what I would say. But
he literally said something that we were talking about. Yeah. So a lot of you, I know, if you've been to the UK, even if you've seen like UK originated movies, if you notice, a lot of the characters were usually like black. They would have slangs like, I know you've heard slangs like man them, things, waist.
Even like Toronto too, like
but like in the case of England or UK,
adapted from
we are similar in that way, because remember there was a big migration period. For those of you
there's a big integration. Even music is where it started first.
Well, before it gets to that though, the migration, remember, like, back in the, I think it was like 1980s or so, there was like a big migration of Caribbean immigrants to countries like Canada and the UK and the US for like different work in like like housekeeping or babysitter, stuff like that. So naturally, that culture would be brought with it because that is a part of the Jamaican patois language, right? So slangs like that integrate. And as he mentioned, like a lot of Nigerians, you meet a lot of Nigerians in the UK as well. If you're in Toronto, you'll meet a lot of Nigerians right off the rip that you can identify.
So you can't really say black, yeah.
Yeah,
black.
it's so he did a good point in that, in identifying, like, in the mix of black UK culture, here are the different groups that makes up black UK.
Yeah,
you get what I mean?
But I cannot define in one sentence to say this is black culture because it's.
Can I ask a quick question?
Of course.
When did you decide that you were Jamaican? Was it when you came back over here? Was it when someone asked you? Like, was there an experience where you just felt, I identify as a Jamaican man?
Let me explain to you. Yeah? I don't know if I've ever said this on an interview.
Wait, what?
Okay, let's have him answer
Assuming
first.
that he's from Jamaica, though. Yeah.
Yeah, let's have him answer first because I don't even think I know whether or not White Yardie was born in Jamaica or not. So let him answer first.
Interview anywhere yet, but my mother before me, she had a miscarriage. So when she was pregnant with me, she could have gave birth to me in Jamaica.
Right.
But where we live, the hospitals weren't great. So obviously she has the opportunity to leave. Once she had me and did the checks, 3 months on a plane back to Jamaica. So from there until what I know has been that. So it's not like I wake up one day and say, oh, 5-year-old, I want to be Jamaican. Oh, 10-year-old, I think I'm Jamaican. 12-year-old,
cool.
I'm definitely Jamaican.
Yeah.
It's just what's inside. You understand what I mean, brother?
So it was born somewhere else. It was born for a brief. So while he had consciousness, he was Jamaican.
So it's like me.
Yeah.
Basically, we did a video. So go check out that first video we actually did together because I had some questions related around that. So he was born somewhere else, but literally grew up in Jamaican culture. So his mother sounds like his mother's Jamaican, though. That's what it sounds like. So this question was weird. I don't know if he meant to ask him something else because what the heck does he mean? When did you decide to be Jamaican?
I guess they knew before the interview that he wasn't really born in Jamaica, so I guess they assumed that because his nationality was probably US or whatever it is. I don't know what it was, or UK or whatever. I think it's because this is a UK. I think he probably was born in the UK. I don't know. He didn't say.
No, so he moves. I think right now White Yardie lives in the UK.
But where was he? Where did they have birth? Like, where did his mother birth him before?
Oh, that's what I think probably UK. I'm thinking two places, either UK or America.
Yeah, so wherever that was,
yeah,
like wherever that was, I guess that's why the question came up, because when you're interviewing someone, you usually ask them for a bio, and they usually outline that, hey, I was born here and there. So I guess they knew that he wasn't born Jamaican. So I guess they think it's a gimmick or a prop. So they just asked him the question.
Okay. Yeah. Was a weird question.
Yourself a Jamaican, that's interesting, because you said that you weren't born there. But I guess if the community to which you kind of were raised in, which is Jamaica, obviously, if they've embraced you, the large swaths of them and stuff, and
it's not really a matter of embrace. It's just
that's where he grew up.
Yeah, that's
that's all he knows.
That's kind of all he knows, and everyone around him, that's all they know that he know. You know what I mean? Like that he knows. Cause
like the only difference for them would just know that he's white.
Yeah, but it's not really about embracing.
I think I know where this is going, but let's just continue.
Citizenship, I don't know if you have, but yeah, from where I come.
Wait. Did they ask him his citizenship?
Yeah, from where I come, embraced you, the large swaths of them and stuff. And if you've got citizenship, I don't know if you have, but yeah, from where I come.
Do you see her face? Her face was like, yo, you out of pocket.
So I find it interesting as well, because how do you decide? White Yardie, I'm from Jamaica. My grandparents are from Jamaica. Yeah. My dad's born there. My mum was born here. You probably would know more about Jamaica than me, just because I'm black now. No one, if I said I'm Jamaican, no one's going to question me. It is, you're just Jamaican. Exactly. But you probably know how to cook yard food. You know how to do all of that better than me. So then, who are we to tell him, actually, no, you're not Jamaican, just because he's white?
I went to school in Jamaica, so when people are when people here are talking about, oh, you cannot represent the culture, you're not from Jamaica, not this, like that, you know nothing about the black culture, and I'm like, you were born here, you were raised here, you went to school here. That means if you went to school for like how long do you go to school when you're here? Like what?
Too long.
How many years?
Just answer the question.
Yeah.
So 14 years. Realistically, they only taught you what? 14 months of black history. My whole schooling was black history. So I learned everything about the culture. So when I'm in school, we don't have a month to say this is
history.
White History Month because we have to accept that white Yardie. I don't care about that. I'm there to learn, and I'm not there to learn. I'm just going with what I know is life.
Would you say that someone like White Yardie is culture appropriating?
No, not at all. I think that, you know, not least because he actually has some connection to many of these parts of the world, but he clearly doesn't have intentions to denigrate, to humiliate, or to make a particular culture inferior in the eyes of the majority of society. He's clearly doing it from a sense of appreciation and a sense of sharing love, and I think that that is something that is positive.
But White Yardie, Harry, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, and I think that you've been a very valued member of this panel. Also, after the break,
We just clapped.
I know, for the white man. Clap your cheeks for the white man.
No.
After the break, we'll be joined by the gorgeous rapper.
Was that necessary? All right, so yeah, a lot just happened in that interview. So this is one thing that I think I want to basically bring out as the point of the reason I wanted to react to this video, because I saw it briefly via Instagram page Know Your Caribbean, and when she shared it, she actually had a lot of people who were like coming for her like, why would you share this? Like, are you advocating for blah blah blah, this, that, and the third? So here's the thing. There's a difference between nationality and ethnicity. All right, somebody can be of a nationality of a certain country, but their ethnicity is different. So where we just mentioned in the beginning, Jamaica's motto is out of many one people. You'll meet Jamaicans who have Chinese background, German, Irish, and then you have the African background. So that was like the first thing. What I can kind of probably see they're probably coming from is that in the UK, someone like White Yardie would be benefiting from something that people who look like me and you won't really benefit from. But here is the question I have with that. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Who gives him the platform for him to be electrified like that? If he's not given that ratings, quote unquote, and the ones who have to give him the ratings like that would have to be us to begin with, right? If he isn't given that platform for us where we are like, you know, here's the thing, what people need to understand, him getting this platform and getting all these opportunities behind it has to do with you sharing his videos with people. Are you sharing videos like mine? Are you sharing my videos? If you find it educational, you find it informative, you don't share it. If someone else though, who didn't look like me, was to do the same exact thing, more than likely theirs is shared because they are special. So because it's so uncommon, some people when they see a white person talking patois, it's like you're kind of taken aback because most people are used to knowing that Jamaicans are usually black. So I think that's where that probably comes from. What do you think?
Like I have a roommate that's like, he's Jamaican but he looks like Indian. So it's pretty much the same reaction. I feel like it's a natural reaction to, you know, want to like to be shocked at first. Like maybe, you know, he looks white, then he opens his mouth, then he kind of, you know, it's not what you're expecting. Because a lot of people, like say for instance, if you look a certain way, say for instance you are a large guy, you expect the person to have a deep voice, and then maybe when they talk and they have a squeaky voice, you're like, oh, it's not what you expect. So I think it's expectation, and it's a natural reaction. The problem with it, however, is your initial reaction versus the facts, and you're accepting of that. It took a while for them to it seemed like it took a while for them to accept the fact that maybe he's just, like, even though he wasn't born there, now he's Jamaican because that's all he knows. Right? It's not really a thing about people embracing him or him deciding or anything like that. You know, it's
he was brought up in.
He was brought up there, and that's all he knows. So
and
he
it
never
seems
really
like
decided.
his mother is Jamaican, based on what he said. Like his mother is Jamaican. She left Jamaica to go have the baby somewhere else because before she had him, she had a miscarriage. For fear of having that happen again to him, she went somewhere that had better like medical services or whatever. But
he wasn't there more than 3 months, so
yeah, like
basically
just enough time for him to get his shots and whatever. So I want people to understand, like, we're not here like defending or anything, because trust me, that question that they even asked about cultural appropriation, trust me, there are people who do that. Like, they went to Jamaica a couple times and visited, and just because they're so in love with the Jamaican culture, all of a sudden they're like the poster child for Jamaica. They're now doing business on behalf of Jamaica, and the Jamaican people aren't getting those benefits. In that regard, I understand. If you appreciate a culture and you love the culture, there are ways for you to appreciate it without seeming like you're exploiting it to gain for yourself. Now, financially and stuff like that. You can help create jobs. You can, if you have the financial, gain to provide those opportunities, instead of you putting yourself at the forefront, you bring other people on who actually can do it and deserve it in that way. So I'm going to go back to what I said, in that sometimes it is on us as well as people to take accountability for the people who we give power with the platforms that they have. Because White Yardie wouldn't have the platform.
He probably made a genuine video first and then blew up, and then
White Yardie wouldn't have, I don't think when he made his first video, he probably even do it with the intention, oh, I'm gonna go viral and blah blah. It was like someone shared it and now y'all found him interesting because, oh, a white guy that can speak Jamaican patois, but it's like, this guy's literally Jamaican. It's not that he just went and visited a few times, which would be a different thing. So I think we also have to put the onus on us of who we give the platforms. If you keep complaining that people from your community aren't getting the recognition they deserve, what are you doing to help elevate those people? If you think their content is good, are you sharing their content, right? I have seen other reaction videos about this, and that's what some people have said, in that he has that benefit, because for those of you who don't know, even though Jamaican patois is loved by so many around the world, in Jamaica it's still seen as the language of the lower class. If you talk patois, you don't have an education. If you talk proper English, if you're talking proper English like how I'm speaking right now, then you're educated. You speak proper. You're educated. Whereas if someone talk patois or raw patois, that means that them not have no education. That's how it's seen. So for someone who looks like me, if I was to be speaking patois, would I be going viral like White Yardie was going viral? The answer is no. So that is one thing that I would say I give to them, and maybe that's what they were trying to come at with what they were asking him. But let's just be really clear in understanding the difference between race and ethnicity.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
or nationality, sorry. Nationality and ethnicity.
People with the cultural appropriation, like most artists do it, and we don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, like y'all calling out like your Drake favorites, Drake and all that. Like, y'all
cultural appropriate every day.
Like, y'all love who you want to love, and that's the problem. That's why I say it goes back to who are we giving the platform. So if you see someone who's from your culture, who's doing an effort to uplift your culture, and you think they deserve the recognition,
because it helps the culture. And, like,
share. Share their stuff.
More people know about the language and the culture, and it helps the culture by him being highlighted, because a lot of people see it where they post it on shade. It makes a lot of people aware to Jamaican patois and even more. So I don't think he's doing any harm to the culture by him speaking the language.
To be honest, whatever anyone wants to say, as I said, I'm not defending him, but I've been following for a while, and he does his best also in even bringing awareness to when there are issues. When the volcano had erupted in St. Vincent, like, he was one of the first, like, influencers, as you could say, who did bring attention. And for whoever follows him, if they weren't aware of the issue, at least he can use his platform to do things like that. But I think we need to be very careful of how we're trying to, like, gatekeep culture, because the reality is with culture, it's, again, lived experiences. Depending on where you grew up, how you were brought up, your lived experience becomes your culture, and it would be no different for this guy right here, because, as he said, that's how he was growing up, that's how he was raised, and
that's all he knew.
Yeah. And again, he did not identify with being a part of black culture. He was very clear. Jamaican culture, not black culture. So let us know what y'all think, though. That was, our thoughts on that.
Interesting.
And I'll see you in the next video.